Hi, I'm Mark Beck.
And I'm Stephanie Thompson.
And I'm Meghan Salois. We're with Remax Glacier Country, coming to you from Sunset Plaza here in Kalispell, Montana.
And this is Selling Montana, a podcast about real estate, business, and entrepreneurship. And today we were supposed to have Brandon Hightower, employee of the federal government, as a firefighter, but believe it or not, with all this rain, there's still fires in the U.S., so he got called to New Mexico. So we instead are going to talk about the current status of the market.
I think that's how most people are feeling right now.
Yeah.
I've been waiting to hit one of these buttons. So okay. Yeah, so today we went on tour today, right? MLS tour. There was 5 properties for us to go look at, which was great. They were all pretty good properties too. But we're listing things, we're putting them on the market, and we're not getting that many showings, are we?
Yeah, it's been very quiet lately. So
Yep.
a little bit different than this time last year when you listed something and got multiple showings within the first few hours.
Yeah.
When there was no one at MLS meetings because they were all too busy.
So, obviously, there's some people that still need to sell their house and some people that are still going to need to buy a house no matter what. And so, for the people that are selling their house, what kind of advice are we going to be able to offer them? What do you need to do to get a house sold right now?
Number one, have a little bit of patience because properties are staying on the market about 25 days before going under contract.
Yeah. I think what's going to be really important is listening to your realtor. Like every seller almost that I talk to, you put all this research into, comparable properties, into what the market's doing. We know what the market's doing more than, just your average Joe. And we come up with a price. And then normally most sellers will say, okay, well, how about we go 100 grand higher or 200 grand higher or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And come to find, at least what I've been experiencing, when that happens, we're typically coming back down to where we said to start anyways, and you could have saved yourself a lot of time and stress and headache. And especially in this market, also, you can't look back at what happened. We were talking about this at our meeting this morning. Sellers want to look back at what happened 6 months ago and how their neighbor got, $1 million for their house and they had 5 offers, and they think that's still happening, but it's just not really the case anymore. So I think it's going to be crucial to listen to what your realtor tells you to price your house at according to the current market, not
last
happening,
year's market.
Yeah, or even 3 months ago. I think.
Yeah, no, totally.
It's changed really fast. So.
Yeah, so when we're doing a CMA, what do we used to be? We were always looking at the high end of the CMA because it's like, okay, that's what the house sold for 3 months ago, but now that house isn't available, and a lot of the other homes have disappeared off the market. So, you're obviously going to be at the top end. Now we're going the other way, right? We're down. We're looking more at the low end of the range. It's like that's what it sold for 3 months ago, but the guy who locked the rate on that locked it at 3.9%, and now this guy's locking it at 6.5%.
And also, like, to go back to CMAs too, don't always take the agent that gives you the highest price, because make sure that your agent is giving you an educated decision. An educated answer to your price, and
even if it's not what you want to hear.
Totally.
Would you rather list your house high and sit there for 3 to 6 months and then end up at the lower price anyway, or would you rather just list where they tell you and get it done quickly?
Yeah, I've been, and obviously I've been in those positions, especially lately, where it's like there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure to show me a big price because I'm shopping my realtor, and it's like, look at what I'm bringing to the table. Look at the brand that I bring to the table. Look at the knowledge and experience that I bring.
No one sells.
No one sells more real estate. Exactly. And the experience that we bring to the table is so different than a lot of our competitors, I believe. And it's like, well, maybe my number's not the highest number for a good reason. Do you?
You're not making a guess. You're making an educated decision.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I look at a CMA from a realtor just like I would look at, if I see one of my competitors' CMA, like, are there any adjustments, square footage adjustments?
Yeah.
So common to not see that.
Which is crazy. Like, how could you do a CMA without making adjustments? Like,
because you want a higher number.
Yeah, I guess.
So, but you'll never see an appraisal without square footage adjustments.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, I think that is a number one trick is I believe picking your realtor is just like picking the person who's going to remodel your home, who's going to represent you in a court of law, who's going to represent you, in any professional standard. You need to have someone who is qualified and really good at what they do. Otherwise you're not going to have a great experience.
Yeah, look at what they're going to offer you besides the price.
Besides a high CMA. Yep.
Absolutely. Or a reduced commission.
Or
gotta love that one.
Yeah.
I had a client that said that someone knocked on their door and they didn't realize they already had a realtor, but they were like, somebody said, I'll offer you 5%. I'm like, what?
You're like, I'm worth way more than that.
Yeah, I'm worth way more than that, but you go ahead if you want.
Yeah, there's
just getting lower and lower.
There's definitely some discounters out there, but obviously, discounters are just trying to stay alive. Like they can't cut it in the real world, and so they're just trying to do anything to get a deal, and that's not who you want representing you.
No, right.
Because, hey, I'll keep working. I don't need the check,
No.
I'll just keep working it and I'll sell it when I find the right buyer, and we'll market it until we do, and that is what it is. I have multiple lines of business going at once, and that's, why I'm a professional, and that's why you guys are too. We're in the same position. The other thing that we were just, kind of talking about earlier this morning was photos. I mean, people saying, oh, the photos don't do it justice. So can we get it on tour? Why don't the photos do it justice? You look at it, and the realtor had taken photos of the property with their cell phone. Of a $1.3 million home.
I was going to say, it's usually like a one to God knows how many $1 million home, and it's got like iPhone photos. You're like, what?
Yeah, they're not high res, they're not high quality.
No.
Or they're upside down or sideways.
I love those. Or there's somebody in the background mowing the lawn or feeding the baby.
Oh, and so this all comes down to training, right? Like training people to do a good job at selling real estate. That's not an easy task, and it's I don't think you're able to do it if you have 200 people all at once that you're trying to teach that, And then what's the reason that a lot of newer agents or agents that just don't do a lot of business, why do they not have professional photography?
Yeah. I know it costs money.
They can't afford it. They can't afford to invest into your listing. So they're running a business that they can't afford to run because they can't even, and they don't know how to do professional photography on their own. They don't own a high-end camera. Who would, right? Unless you're a photographer. So those are the things that you've got to consider when you're doing that listing interview. I would say, if it was me on the other side of the table, is I want to see exactly what you bring to the table as a marketing package.
Yeah, marketing, which we've talked about. I think a lot of people the last 2 years have just gotten escaped by with like the least possible amount of marketing, not professional photos, no video, like nothing.
Oh, yeah, you just put it up and it'll
everybody's
sell.
Like, well, why are you guys still doing all that when the market's so hot and you don't even need to do that? Because we knew this was coming and that we were going to need to have these tools and these good marketing techniques when the shift happened. And now we need those listings to look as good as they possibly can.
What is the saying you always say with the ocean?
When the tide goes out.
When the tide goes out, we're going to see who's been skinny dipping.
There you go. I was trying to think of it.
But you're right. Again, do your research. Make sure your agent uses the tools that are going to get your house sold.
And Megan, you brought up a great point. We were doing it when you didn't have to.
Yes. Yes.
But
exactly.
We have a brand.
Right.
We have a portfolio.
Right.
I'm never going to muddy the waters and do lesser quality. I don't care if it sells in 2 minutes or it sells in 2 years. I'm going to do the same amount of work and the same amount of quality for each home I sell, because that's who I'm. Mark Beck, broker owner of Remax Glacier Country, and you guys are the same way, right? We're the Remax Glacier Country team.
it's a reflection of you too, like not just the house,
not just
selling, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a reflection of my quality of work as it is, for all of us. So, and that's something that we, I really push here at the brokerage is that, hey, I want every listing to have professional photography because it looks bad on our brand if we don't.
Yeah. And I know that each one of us has done something too, like beyond what our job title is. I've seen you spray washing a sidewalk. I packed up a client's house this week, and I know that you've done stuff too. Yeah.
Scraping paint off of a house and then repainting it so that we'd get by on.
I've hauled garbage out of foreclosures.
I just raked someone's yard this morning.
Yeah, showing up for those things too.
People that just started selling real estate a year ago, I don't even think they could imagine having to haul garbage out of a listing because the buyer won't close until it's done. Last year, the buyer would just get me in the house. I don't care what it looks like.
I don't care what they leave behind. Just to get me in. Yeah.
So it's going to be a rude awakening for a lot of people the next 5-6 months, I think. Yeah. But, if you're watching this, you're looking for a realtor or you're looking for guidance or a place to go, maybe your current brokerage is just like no one at your brokerage is talking like what we're talking about. Hey, look, like we know what we're doing here. Like we've got a good team, we're growing, we know what we're doing, and we're gonna persevere and push on through. And it doesn't matter what happens.
Yep. And if you're on the buying side, now is the time to get in. You can always refinance later. Don't let interest rates scare you.
Yeah, like even though rates are higher, at least we're not dealing with like every single time. Like last year, you put an offer in, you had no idea if you were going to get it because you were up against 12 other people. I think buyers have more power now to, maybe be the only offer, not have to go 10 to 15% over ask price. So there's, there's always give and take,
Yeah. And we're starting to see a lot more buyer concessions too coming back. So,
I look at it this way. You can buy a house. I mean, it was so competitive 6 months ago, you couldn't hardly get anything done, right? Mm-hmm. Now you can buy a house at a better deal. Honestly, you should be looking at an adjustable rate mortgage right now.
Yes.
You're not going to keep your mortgage for longer than 5 years. You should look at an adjustable rate. Yeah. Most of those mortgages, they don't adjust they're fixed for the first 5 years anyways, a lot of them, from what I've been told by lenders.
I think I was just talking to a lender about that before this podcast. I think even at like the 5 years, they only adjust by like a percentage. It's not some like insane amount.
But most people either refinance or buy something else within 3 to 5 years, right?
Yeah. Correct. Yep.
Yeah, you're hardly ever in a 30-year mortgage.
Yeah. Your buying cycle for the most part is about 7 years, 7.5 years. So you're not even going to own the house 7 years after that. So why do you care if the mortgage is a 5-year fixed or a 30-year fixed? For 5-year adjustable. Sorry. So that's definitely something you should be looking at.
Yeah, and ARMs are typically like 1 to 1.5% lower than whatever the current average rate is.
That's several $100s a month.
Yeah.
In mortgage payment. It's totally worth looking at.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, I think these are all great tips for buyers and sellers. I mean, what else? What else are we?
I had a good point that this lender I was talking to brought up to me about rates and what they're going to do in the next couple of years, and I thought it was interesting. He was saying that the government is raising rates, obviously, to curb inflation and just, how crazy everything is right now. But the government has their own debt of $30 trillion or whatever it is. So they don't want rates to be high because that means that the rate on their debt is higher. So they're not going to keep it that way forever. They're going to want it to come back down too, just like all of us. I thought that was a good point.
That's good.
They're raising rates now to curb inflation in hopes that it does the job of curbing inflation, and then might, have a recession, and then, which is not always a really bad thing. It just means the economy is slowing down, which it kind of needs to. And then typically, if you look at rates historically, rates follow a recession and they lower rates, to
incentivize growth again. Yeah,
exactly. So I just thought that was a good point, though, that like the government probably doesn't really want rates to be high either.
Yeah,
so I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just like any major life decision, you have to look at the long term. You can't look at the short term. This is not a 6 month, 1 month decision. No. It's a 5 to 10 year decision. So
we always talk about you have to have somewhere to live. Like if you're going to be paying $2,500 to $3,500 a month, in either a mortgage or rent. Like, wouldn't you want that huge chunk of money to be going to your own mortgage versus, because I mean, I know like apartments are renting for $2,100 a month, like 1,000 square foot apartments. Did I tell you guys that?
We said that on one of the last episodes, I believe.
So, you know, that could get you a mortgage, you know, why wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Even with a higher rate.
And
go ahead.
You know, just about that, you know, standards. I think the other thing is standards, buyer standards of what they expect to get at the price point they're approved at. Yeah. That's always the difficulty.
That is hard.
And it's like, look, you can't, I notice this with younger people. You can't expect to move out of your parents' home and into the replica of it because they bought and sold 3 or 4 different times. You know, when you were complaining about moving that summer, they were upgrading the family life by buying up, you know, and that's how you climb the ladder. You don't just jump into $1 million home on your first home. You're going to have a townhouse or a condo or something that you're going to start in, build equity over the years, fix it up, and then you sell it down the road. Then you move up a notch.
Yeah, that's how it usually works in real estate. Yeah. Just get your dream home right away.
I told my clients the other day, they're young and they have little kids, and I said, you weren't ready for a baby when the baby was coming. Like, everybody's like, I gotta save money before we start a family. Just get into a house. Don't don't be saving money and wait for a higher income, because prices might go up by the time you have a higher income in 2 years. You know.
Yeah.
Well, it's mathematically, it's just impossiple to outsave the inflation. Like you're not going to save up a 20% down with 8, 9, 10+% inflation. You need to get into a house sooner and let the appreciation carry you up.
Yeah.
You're not going to save it in time.
I think everyone's just so worried that the housing market's going to crash, and then, you know, they're going to be buying at the high, and then they're going to be underwater, and, you know, all this crazy stuff. But I think there's just too much demand. And I even heard the great Dave Ramsey say that we are not in a housing bubble. So it's, you know,
that's the Bible right there. The great Dave Ramsey. He normally says don't buy a house with debt, but
and he even said, don't wait till you have 20%. He said, even if you have 5 or 10. I was like, did he just say that? I've never heard him say that.
That's new. Yeah.
I've never heard him say that.
He really did.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So that shows there's a change in the market.
There's a change, and you know, this isn't to steal the Lincoln commercial. This isn't your dad's real estate market, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's just times have changed, and the strategy has to change too, and so you have to be totally adaptive and willing to basically just, you know, listen to professionals that are in the market, listen to your real estate agent, and listen to your mortgage broker.
You're scaring me holding that chip. That chip does not have to go in a camera or...
No, this is the adapter for it.
I'm like, are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording, I promise.
Okay. Sorry.
I'll stick it out of the way.
No, you're fine.
Otherwise I'll fidget with it, yeah.
You're fine, you can fidget. Keeping it real on camera here.
Oh boy. Well, I got nothing else.
I can't think of anything else to add.
I feel like we've...
anything else either. Yeah, we covered it all.
Yeah, we hit it pretty hard.
Yeah,
we were blunt.
If you're looking to buy or sell, you know who to call.
Yes. As always, please subscribe to this channel. If you're looking to purchase or sell real estate, give us a call at Remax Glacier Country or email. There's a link in the description of this video. And please share this with your friends and family. Yeah. Oh, Best of Flathead.
Subscribe. Oh, yes, that too.
Yes. Vote for us. Best of Flathead, best brokerage. We'll put a link to that. Check it out. If you love our work, maybe you're a client, give us a vote.